Welcome back to another episode of Slightly Inconvenienced. My name is Illuminator, and without wasting any more time, let's get into another episode. So, first off, I wanted to thank everybody for the feedback and for the support on the first episode. I think that this is actually going to be a positive series that we're going to be able to continue in the future, and it's all thanks to you guys, and I'm trying to make this better. So, again, if there's any feedback or anything I can do better, let me know in the comments. Everything is much appreciated. So, last week we talked about the plans for this podcast or this talkie thingy, as I really want to call it. And we specifically mentioned a couple people. We mentioned one of our close friends, Icy. We mentioned Sarah. We mentioned Tim, but we also mentioned another person, a very, very, very special person to me, and we actually have her on the show today. So I think I'm going to have her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Honeybee, but my actual name is Courtney. I'm a good friend of Lily's, but I'm really excited to be on here tonight.
We are actually really excited to have you, or at least
I know.
I'm saying we, but like it's more like the royal we, where I'm saying like, well, I'm excited, but we is including the community.
Yeah.
So,
I'm super excited. I'm like getting like kind of slap happy about it. I was just like, I just want to keep laughing.
I mean, I think that's the great amount of energy that you're bringing into it already. Any energy that you bring, I'll definitely try to match it, but like, there's no guarantee. So Courtney is actually a Twitch streamer herself. I'll be dropping her links and
Yeah.
everything down in the description. But I think what I really wanted to use this time it was to really get a deep dive and understand the person behind the camera. And I think I know for myself, I'm just an idiot behind of a camera and behind of a microphone. And you guys, we see what you guys get. You guys get what you guys get, right? There's no paper wall between us. But I think with Courtney, there's a lot more than meets the eye. So, Courtney, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you?
Oh, that's so kind of you. Well, first off, I've literally been playing video games probably since I can even remember my first memory. Like my bio, my Twitch says, I'm literally somebody from the Midwest. I'm in Ohio. Um, well, I guess I would start with Super Nintendo. That became a big addiction probably since I was like 4 years old. My mom and dad played it so much when they were dating, and I think it kind of went on to me when my mom was like pregnant with me somehow. Like, when you get cravings, it was probably just like she was playing Donkey Kong Country and it just immediately soaked into her blood system somehow and went to me. So I guess I was born addicted to video games in a way, but
Just like
I've
people are,
literally just,
I was gonna say, just like
yeah.
people are born addicted to tobacco because their parents smoke so much.
Oh,
I.e.,
yeah, that would, yeah, that would be, oh my gosh. Thankfully, it wasn't that, but still. Um, But yeah, my dad was really into video games too, but more on the PC side. He taught me a lot about computers when I was little, but with nowadays, I literally know zero about them. I'm used to like the old, like early 2000, late 2000 computers where you'd set the big thick one on the desk and you'd have your actual computer down on the bottom and all that. Like, have you ever seen like the meme with the screen where you could just move it around and it totally like glitches out and goes all over the whole screen
oh my god, yes, I
if you
think
do
that
just take. I
I.
literally had the most funnest time with that, but I literally got so irritated. My sister who was like 16 at the time had a little 7-year-old sister with computer, so he, not to throw him out there, kind of illegally downloaded a lot of video games for me when I was
Whoa,
little, so
whoa,
that
whoa!
kept me really busy.
We're gonna get raided by the FBI here.
Hey, open up! We're legally downloading to early 2000 video games. But yeah, um, that was really fun. Considering I played Halo on PC was pretty weird back then, so it was mainly for like Xbox and stuff. But I
Yeah, yeah.
also played like a lot of other cool games, like old Tomb Raider, with the
Hmm.
big pointy triangle tits and all that. um, all that fun stuff. Great graphics back then, by the way.
Heck yeah! I mean, those are
Um,
the graphics that we got to this point. So shout out to all the ancestors out there who actually played those graphics and thought those were good, because like y'all are done messed up now.
yeah, salute, you a veteran.
Salute.
But streaming and YouTube wasn't even a thing when I was little, so nobody even back then ever thought like oh my God, what if I could do this for a living? Or,
Yeah.
what if this could be a dream of mine?
See, I think
So,
that
for many years.
I think that's interesting because a lot of people never thought that this was actually going to be a thing where people do. Like, like here we are. Like, obviously in the background, again, there's going to be a gameplay that I'm going to be posting up. But like, who would have thought that? Like, we're going to say about 10 years ago, like maybe more, guys. I think
Right.
the YouTube revolution started happening around 2008 with gameplay. Let's go back to like
Yeah.
2005. Who the hell thought that? Like, we were going to be seeing people playing video games on the internet, people making thousands of dollars, like streaming.
Right. As a form of entertainment, like kind of like a TV show.
Right, and I think that's really
Like
interesting,
the
you know?
Knights veterans, PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, all of those above who like even started it from YouTube and then working its way through like more social media with streaming and all that. Even to watching it live now, like it literally is television.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Courtney,
Yeah.
how did you get into streaming, or how did you get into like the content creator realm that is the entertainment business?
Well, funny thing about it is that like I used to watch a lot of Markiplier and PewDiePie. I still watch a lot of PewDiePie, not much of Markiplier. But it all started like whenever I originally wanted to start a YouTube channel with makeup, and that was a big dream of mine. I have a lot of inspiration from makeup gurus and stuff, and
Hmm.
for some reason I never got to it, and I kind of regret it in a way, and I'd like to still do that someday. But for right now, I'm perfectly happy with my Twitch community and streaming video games. I'm really happy being able to have fun and talk to new people all the time and share
For
an
sure.
experience with a certain video game and stuff. But
Yeah.
it also, I never even expected like to stream whenever I did 6 months ago. Kind of just an out of like Christian had always told me, which is my boyfriend by the way, had always told me like
By the way,
if I love video games so much.
happy 2 year anniversary coming up in 2 days, everybody. So
Thank you.
so
Yeah, we are so excited.
little bit of a plug when you guys see this video, or which will be the Saturday when it comes out, it would actually be their 2 year anniversary. So I guess happy anniversary, Courtney.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's so awesome. Um, but okay, what was I talking? Oh yeah, well, he was always talking about how, I always like watching video games and streamers with that, and I'm very positive. I like to try to be funny if I can. I don't know. I wouldn't personally say to sound cocky that, I'm like out there or like unique in a way, but I do
I
like to look at myself with some like type of unique, like, I don't know, qualities to
yeah.
myself that I really like and I'm confident about.
Yeah, I don't think that's being
But
cocky at all. I think that's like you just saying like, this is what I bring to the table. This is like what I think separates myself from other people. And girl flaunts it, Like if you say that you're super positive and super like funny and funnier, hell, like
hmm
basically what Courtney's saying is like, hey Lumi, I'm funnier than you, and I know it, and I feel confident in saying it out loud on your podcast, and I accept that, Because sometimes you're
oh
funnier than
no.
me.
I would never be able literally any you. I would like if I ever did, it's not me, I promise. It's, but
Yeah,
yeah, I would say that I have, unique humor. I may not
yeah.
I don't know how to explain. It's a little bit more common now, my sense of humor. But it's hard to explain. I'm like really that's a word. Like
I
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah. I
Is
think
that how and kind of around the offensive type, but of course not too offensive.
I think
Just drop like borders.
as far as like going back to the topic of how you got into streaming, I think one thing that was really interesting that I actually got to talk about with with one of my friends back in the day was
hmm
how at one point someone who has a Twitch account will stream. Like there's something about watching another person actually play these video games and do the things that they do on stream, because you see that nostalgia, not nostalgia, I don't want to call it nostalgia, but you see kind of that uh, euphoria of like, oh hey, people are having a lot of fun doing what I've liked to do my entire life and play video games. Why can't I do that same
Yeah.
thing and have that same interaction with the people who want to watch these video games and then have a conversation about them? Because I know with myself growing up, a lot of the times I would sit in my room uh, when I first started playing video games, and even growing up, just by myself, like playing Fallout New Vegas, like by myself. I would have my brothers watch. me plays, and I would talk to them about it. So it's kind of like I already started like live streaming, but like actual live streaming in front of my
Yeah.
brothers. So like when they found out I started doing Twitch, they're like, "Whoa, well you've been doing this forever," and I think that's pretty interesting. But like the whole notion or the whole like idea that if you're on Twitch just as a viewer, like
Hmm.
there's a good percentage or a good like I would be a betting man by saying that at one point you're going to dwindle into the world of streaming or content creation, and because like you're already there, you're part of the community, and you already know how it works. So I think that's something that definitely seems to have fell on your lap with the help of Christian,
Oh,
um, and because of that, it's just an overall great
it's
thing.
just, yeah, it is a great thing. It's great to have that type of support, especially when I probably wasn't feeling the best about myself around the time that I started streaming.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know, but ever since I've started streaming, it's really been exciting to like, there's been days where I'm so tired from work and I just want to come home and play video games. And now I can do that while at the same time talking to people that are now my friends or my viewers or even new people who are interested in the games that I'm playing.
yeah,
And I can interact and just make a community that could be so wonderful. And that's really inspiring in a way. And it's like, it's not even just that, it's just the fact that you have so much support around you to do that is what makes it even more exciting because it makes you feel good about yourself and that you could actually make a change in something
right.
not only you enjoy but something you have a passion for.
Yeah, and I think it's super interesting. Like who would have thought that this would have been the platform for people to like relieve their stress or help with their anxiety? You know, like while playing video games, like talking to people that support you. And I think that's a great point with like choosing who your moderators are. You know, like your moderators are going to be the reflection on your community because these are the people that you trust the most to take care of your community. Like while you're focused on your chat and whatnot, like your moderators are taking a chat, they're like bringing in new people, they're welcoming people, they're making people feel comfortable. And who would have thought that I would have people who share my vision for what I want to happen in my stream, and they're like
Hmm.
working with me to make that happen. You know, I think that's a really
Yeah.
interesting point and really interesting thing to think about when choosing moderators and whatnot. But
Yeah, it really is because I mean, like you said, mods build your whole channel in a way just so, and it's great to have that type of support. It doesn't make it as stressful as it can be because it can be very stressful, especially like whenever I first started streaming, like and all the trolls and stuff. Like I didn't know
yeah,
anything about how Twitch worked. And then somebody came along and was just like, "Hey, why don't you have any mods and stuff that could help out with
yeah,
chat?" And then Christian, of course, was my first moderator. So therefore, anytime that I stream, he keeps it on his phone, maybe at a low volume if he's doing something else like watching TV or playing reading. Hear
yeah,
anything of like what I'm talking about in chat, he checks up on it just to make sure nothing bad's happening or nobody's arguing or no trolls are coming along and
yeah, yeah.
all that type of stuff. So it's really nice to like have people to rely on whenever you're doing that type of work because it helps a lot.
Yeah, it just makes your overall streaming experience a lot easier and a lot
And
more
better.
enjoyable. You know,
Yeah,
because like
definitely.
especially if you're playing like an FPS game like Overwatch or Call of Duty, like and you're rocking it and you're over here just like doing what you're doing, like you don't want to be focusing on. I mean, yeah, you want to be focusing on chat and like talking with your community, but like you don't want to be focusing on like getting rid of the issues that are going on in chat. You know, like leaving it up to moderators, unless like there's a point where you have to intervene, but like that's like on rare circumstances or whatnot. And I think that's the level of support that we can expect from our moderators and also from like our dedicated viewers. Like now that Twitch has VIPs, like I think setting up VIPs in the
Hmm.
channel is super important because then we friendships like you and I. Well, I know you're a moderator in my chat. Um,
Yeah, and you're a mod in my chat.
yes, I am. But like other people who don't necessarily have the role as mod, like we have them as VIPs and we trust them to
Yeah,
be that positive shining light in our community. And I think that's interesting that Twitch added that because not everybody can be a mod, and that's like the sad truth. But like a lot of people are gonna be there to
right.
support, and I think that little extra like badge that's not a sub badge, but like just a little bit in chat like shows them that hey, you're appreciated in my chat. I like you, and I really want you to be a part of this community. So here you go. You know what? You're one of my VAPs.
Yeah, and it's great that you can be so like giving back to the people who support you on Twitch because it's like that's the whole point about streaming is that you want to be a part of an entertainment and a community that's fun and
Yeah,
outgoing and positive. And while you're not only doing that, you can also give back to people while they're watching you and having fun. You can make them feel good about themselves by giving your trust into them and
for
just
sure.
all that. And it's a really rewarding type of thing to do. It really is.
Yeah, it's crazy how we're talking about like our moderators and the people we trust. Courtney, we haven't known each
Mhm.
other for much for a lot of time. I think it's
Mhm.
since August, July, something around there, right?
It's about that because I started streaming in July and then it was all Fortnite first. So then whenever I started like getting more into Overwatch and trying to find a variety of games that I like or a main game that I wanted to play,
Mm-hmm.
you came along coincidentally on Overwatch and stuff, you and Icy. And at first I thought you guys were trolls 'cause so Icy said something about being carried and I was just like, who's saying I'm bad? And then you came in, you were like, no, 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 that's not what we thought. Do you want to play and stuff? And you guys were really nice and welcoming. And I'm just so happy that I was streaming that night and you guys came across me because now we have such an amazing friendship that I would have never expected just by live streaming Overwatch.
Exactly. Like we've been like on the personal level. You and I have talked like even off stream. You know, like
Right.
it's been more than just Illuminator talking to Honeybee. It's been John talking to Courtney on a personal level. A lot of
Yeah.
the times, like off stream, on stream, like I
Mm-hmm.
think that level of friendship is just like grown, and it's crazy how we went from there from like that first day that we met you playing Overwatch until now. Like it's been a long journey, and like
I would have never expected it, honestly. Like I thought that we would be friends and stuff, but I didn't know we would be this close to growing together with our streaming and community and stuff, and now
yeah,
doing this and so many more ideas to come.
I know.
It's like it's nice.
It makes you question like how do we get to this point? You know, like
I know it's like what
how do you cultivate that relationship over the internet? Because a lot of people will say
it's
like,
like a
hey,
meant to be thing.
exactly. Like people will say that that people on the internet, like how that's an internet friend. Like you guys aren't really friends. And I'm just like, well,
Mm.
no, not really. Like because I would still like defend these people as if they were people in my immediate circle of friendships I have in real life. You know, like these people,
Exactly.
I like genuinely care about these people, and I will protect them and as much as I can. I say protect like as if I'm some sort of cop with like a big old hammer. Shout out to you, Sarah. Um, um, but I think that's so interesting how even myself I was skeptical about having internet friends when I first started this Twitch journey like 3 4 years ago when I first started Twitch. But then little by little you just start making these connections with people. You start learning people. You start meeting their families, like by over voice or whatnot. You start worrying about like how their health is. Like if you have issues, like you offer yourself like subconsciously to talk about it, and then you work and grow that relationship with them. And I think that's so. It's a far fetched idea by theory, you know, like oh, you meet people over the
Yeah.
internet, like you can make a total like person that you want people to think. But a lot of people who have had that interaction with really don't, unless they're like super shady people when they make up everything. But like
Hmm.
that's a topic for a different time. But yeah, so it's
Oh.
like um, so yeah, it's crazy how we get to that point where like, hey, like you thought we were trolls, and now like we're doing this whole thing, and a lot of us are
Exactly, and
just
we're like the
busy.
best of friends and growing together, and it's amazing. It's like who would have thought that that could happen just by live streaming, like I said, and to grow so much and be exactly where we are in this moment. It's crazy to think of where we could possibly even be in 2 months,
Right.
and it's exciting too.
Like if you were to if someone was to tell me a year ago, like today, that hey, you're gonna be helping some girl from Ohio, like look at real estate by where you live, even like what the hell? Like what are you talking about? Like who's this girl? Like why is she
Who?
moving to by where
Why is
you
she
live?
moving near to me?
Right.
I
And
know,
so
that'd be crazy.
it's
I
so
probably would
crazy.
have thought the same thing. Like, hey, some guy and his best friend are gonna come on while you're playing a video game, and you're gonna think that they're being trolls, but realistically, you end up being the best of friends with them. And
I
I would
know
have been like,
it's so
how?
crazy how
How's
it's
that a
so
thing?
crazy how it works out. I'm like I said, it's a far fetched theory and a far fetched concept. You know, like the
Oh
notion that
yeah, for
of
sure.
internet friends over real life friends. Like I don't think there has to be a barrier, obviously, right? Like separating church and state.
Right.
But like those, it's funny how people can move over from being just like internet acquaintances over to being like, hey, like I care about you. Like let's be friends and let's do the best that we can to support each other. Um,
Yeah, definitely. And it's almost like as if we don't live even in different states. It's like we've been friends for a while now, but it's like with how close we became, it's like I've known you for longer than what we really have known each other because we've gotten so close. And that's crazy to say just by meeting each other like through social media and all that.
can you imagine if what would things be like today if like Ice and I actually just trolled you when we came in, and like been like the worst example of people on the internet.
Yeah, that would have been really bad because, it sadly does happen a lot. It's happened a lot to me, and I know it's happened a lot to you, and it's the worst thing in the world.
Let's talk about
It
that a
can be
little bit.
really, it can be,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be really degrading. And I feel like it's worse, especially like, I'm not trying to be like sexist or anything, but a lot of female gamers who are live streaming or even content creators and make videos, they can at times like literally get the worst hate because it's like, anybody can say it, literally anything to I mean, and even men, it's like, it happens the same way, but it's like personally from my experience compared to like my boyfriend's experience with trolling, it's like, nobody's going to sit there and talk about his chest or sexually harass him and all that.
Yeah.
But with me being a female and stuff, I guess it's intimidating to some people, and they have to feel the need to be so negative for no exact reason to a complete stranger just trying to have fun and just be so rude. And I don't understand how that's a thing. And I
Yeah.
know you've had your trouble.
Yeah, I've had people come on to like a couple weeks ago. We were playing some like party games on my stream, and there's like some trolls on there. And I was just like, you know what? Like I could have reacted in this way where I was like super offended, but I was like, you know what? Like there's nothing I can do about it. I was
Right.
obviously not in the best place because like I had my wisdom tooth and I was just like trying to do something great. Um,
Hmm.
but like those trolls came in, I was like, all right, whatever. Let's brush them off. Let's like go into the next stream and let's just keep working with
Yeah,
it.
don't encourage them, right?
Right, because I think that's the worst thing that you can do. Like encourage them and be like, "Oh my god, guys, you need to
Oh,
stop."
oh,
You
and
know?
that's exactly what I did when I first started streaming Fortnite. I had these two kids. They were really nice to me at first, and I had played with them for like 2.5 weeks, and then
Yeah.
suddenly one of them just changed up and was with, I guess, another little kid of their friends, and kept making fake accounts just to comment on my stream, like the N word, all these cuss words, rude comments about me and my
Right.
gameplay and
Right.
all
Right.
that. And it was just
Mhm.
so hateful. And the worst part about it, and I would give this as advice to anybody who is to ever, want to make videos or even live stream, like, do not ever, especially when going live, read those comments. You want to read them in your mind before you say them, because my whole thing is that I would read those and then like actually saying those words out loud, like my whole facial expression would change. I had to hold back so many tears of like how mean people can be. There was
Right.
like, I think about 3 streams that I had where immediately after I got off, I bawled my eyes out and I had to like have my boyfriend hold me and like, cause it made me feel so low. And it's like, it sucks. It's like bullying. And
Yeah.
I was bullied a lot growing up too. So it like, it's just like, not like a little PTSD thing, but it kind of felt like that because I just felt like I was being bullied all over again in elementary school, and it
Yeah.
sucks. It made me feel really degraded.
See, now that's then this is what happens like on a small streamer level, right? Like we're over here, we're
Right.
experiencing trolls and whatnot. Can you imagine what it's like to be a bigger streamer where you have like thousands and thousands of people and their eyes
Oh,
are on you and like all these opinions
I
about you, either
know.
good or bad. Like I think that's a crazy part of it. Like we forget that yeah, we do all this hashtag support all streamers or whatever on Twitter, right? But like, what about the bigger streamers? Like,
Right.
we watch them, we give them donations and whatnot. But like, we also have to think about like their mental health too, and like when like especially when people like we have these videos up on YouTube of like the mistakes that they make, right? Like, we forget that these
Yeah.
people are also just human beings, like trying to do the hustle like we are. Like, unfortunately, they got recognized and noticed, but like At the end of the day, there's
Exactly.
still people.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like for example, Ninja, the biggest streamer of all time right now. I mean, who
Yeah,
made Fortnite a thing. Fortnite made him a thing. It's like, could you imagine having hundreds and thousands of people watching you? And, it gets to the point where you can't even talk back to chat, because you have so many people commenting every single second on your stream. And it probably, that I've thought about that a lot for him, with not
yeah,
even how much hate he gets because of how much attention he gets, but it's like
right,
you see all these streamers who are like, let's be supportive of other streamers, yet you have everybody going around like hating on Ninja. Like there's not been
yeah,
one stream of even like minor to bigger streamers that like say stuff about him, and it's like mean and all that, but it's like, he kind of made what Twitch is right now. Like Twitch was big, but he made it like so much bigger and gave us a bigger chance to like build our communities, because that brings people in, maybe not for Fortnite but even for other games.
right,
And it's like, it's kind of, we can't hate on something that made us, kind of what we are. We of course make our own self and our community, but it's like, he's helped at least a bit on it. Like he inspired somebody to get on Twitch and watch him or watch somebody else and run into them. And
yeah,
you got to think about that. It's like, I've made my jokes about Ninja, but I've never personally said anything mean or bad about him, because it's like,
man. Have
he
I?
did his own thing.
I was
He
gonna
made
say,
his way to where he is right now. And I can't hate on that. The dude's making more money than I probably ever will in my life. Not only
right,
that, he's doing it while doing his favorite thing in the world, which is obviously, playing video games and live streaming the experience. Because not only is he good at doing all that, he's good at the game that he plays. And you really can't hate on the grind that he does. Because, I
right.
mean, it's inspiring, truly.
Now I
I
will
mean,
say,
his stream setup,
I was gonna
it's
say,
amazing. I
I
would
was,
love to have that.
I would say I'm actually one of the people who got really annoyed at Ninja. And I said some things like, especially with the whole Twitch concert controversy around New Year's Eve. And like I was like I had a couple of kids come into my stream and be like, hey, like we're gonna go watch Ninja instead because we just got the ad and he seems pretty cool. He seems cooler than you. I'm just like,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
thanks, man. Like, thanks for the compliment. Like, go ahead and go enjoy yourself
Right.
somewhere else. Like, and stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I mean, I can totally understand, it's like, I mean, of course, him especially, it's like, don't sponsor yourself on my stream and all that, but of course, his ads for his New Year's was all over,
Right.
other people's streams, and that is upsetting, but it's like, that's Twitch's fault. I don't think he had anything to do with that, whether if it was, Twitch setting up his New Year's for him and it was ran by Red Bull. It was him, but I feel like it isn't his fault that it got pushed in that type of way to where he kind of got sponsored on everybody's streams for a commercial.
Right.
So I feel like after
Yeah.
after watching him for a while, it's like, I don't watch him a lot, but I watch him. I've pushed himself on other streamers and ruin their stream for them to come watch him. I feel like that's all Twitch's fault, because they, of course, wanted to make big bucks out of the New Year's bash that he had.
Right. Because at the end of the day, I think, like, I mean, not I think, but Twitch is a company, and Twitch, like, companies want to make revenue and whatnot, which
Hmm.
I can appreciate that, but like trying to stuff something down our throats, I think that's where I got a little off put. And it's like,
Oh yeah,
what's the difference
definitely.
between like me, like going into like, oh, who's a big streamer right now? Like me going to Tyler or one the League of Legends guy, right? Like the guy
Hmm.
who looks like a peanut. Like, what's the difference between me and him, or me going into the stream like, hey man, if you guys want to see some different gameplay where I'm over here, I'm like giving out subs, like, hey, come check out my channel. Like, I guarantee you guys are gonna like what you guys are doing, because I'm having this big celebration. And I think you guys are gonna love being a part of that community.
Hmm.
Like what's the difference
That's
there?
wrong.
I think
Right.
that's where the fine line comes in. Like, yeah, you're trying to like grow money, and you're trying to like get more people's attention on Twitch, but like do it in an ethical way.
Yeah,
Which,
definitely. And Twitch should have known better about that than
yeah,
putting out his ads. It's like, Ninja's the number one most watched person on Twitch. It's like, who wouldn't know about him having that New Year's live stream? That's
right,
literally everybody did, even without the ads. He posted it on his social media. So I feel like it was really not needed for them to sponsor him and his live stream on New Year's Eve. on
Right.
other people's channels, especially. So I can definitely agree with that.
Like what happened to my New Year's celebration that I had for my birthday, you
Yeah,
know?
what happened to me when I was streaming? Yeah, what about mine? You gonna make a commercial for me?
Right. Like Twitch, like we're
Uh,
affiliates. I mean, we signed a contract and whatnot. I think, yeah,
Right.
yeah, we signed the contracts. But that's a different discussion for a different time.
Hmm.
But I think the overall the overall theory behind it, or the overall topic, is like how Twitch etiquette works, and I think it's something that not a lot of people think about when it comes to Twitch etiquette, because like yeah, there's the streamers and there's viewers, but like where's the line between that? You know, like where's the line between like you
Right.
being friends with your viewers, but then like you going in and cultivating that relationship, like hey, I'm the viewer, the you're the streamer, and I respect that, and I respect those boundaries. You know.
Right, exactly. I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah, because like there's so many things that people do, like that viewers do, and I know I did this myself when I was a viewer before I moderated for channels and started streaming myself. You know, like oh hey, can you play something else? Like that's the biggest one that I got
Oh,
when I refused to
yeah.
play Fortnite. Like they're like, hey, can you play Fortnite? When are you playing Fortnite? You know, Fortnite's a great game. Like when are you gonna finally play it? And I was just like, you know, kid, I don't want to play Fortnite. And stuff like that, you know, and then like self promotion, and then the whispering. Oh my god, whispers on Twitch are the
Oh my
worst.
God. Oh, I haven't had a bad one in a while, but yeah, they get really bad. It's like, it's so you should tell me, can I shout myself out on your channel?
Right.
Gotten asked to be paid to be shouted out. And I mean, that was around the time when I first started streaming. So I only had like 4 viewers at a time. So it's like, why are you that desperate to come in and try to ruin my stream for your self-sponsor? Like there's social media and stuff that you can build up just the same way as I did to build up to where I'm at.
Yeah, or
Like,
like even
especially since it's just like viewers, like it's not that much, but still.
yeah, like even like the like we're let's say that we're streaming, right? Like I'm on my stream and I'm playing video games. I'm rocking it out, and then someone comes in, you know, like yeah, they give you the host and the raid, and you shout them out, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh hey, go check out this person, da da da, like a 10 15 second thing, right? And you stop, and they stay on, and then they come back for regular streams and whatnot. That person, that streamer, comes on, and I think the biggest thing was like, oh, when your viewers are like, oh hey, when are you streaming? Like, when are you streaming next? Like, when
Yeah.
can we check out your content? You know, like in the chat.
Right.
So it's like it makes like with me when that happened, or when I've seen people do that, it's like, how really interested are you in my content right now that you're trying to see other people's content or ask them about it like while it's going
Yeah.
on, you know?
It makes you feel like you're being boring to them and they're just watching you because they have nothing else to do. And it's like, am I not being entertaining? I'm like, I'm sorry. It's a really negative feeling at times.
Right. Because like if you want to know when someone's streaming, why don't you go ahead and follow them and then turn on notifications for when they go live. I think that's
Yeah,
the best thing. Or go
exactly.
follow someone's Twitter, or go follow, be a part of their Discord. Like that's the number one way to find out when people are going live. But like going in
Yeah,
to someone's chat just to specifically ask someone, hey, when are you, not you the streamer, but when are you the other chatter in this stream going to be streaming yourself?
yeah.
I don't know. Twitch etiquette is like it's common sense that's
It's
not
ironic.
common. Yeah, it's exactly
It's
what it
very
is.
ironic. There's its do and its don'ts, but sometimes the don'ts are do. It's very weird.
It's that fine line that people cross ever so
Yeah,
lightly.
definitely.
You know, like ever so often you see people cross that fine line, and it's that's where like the whole topic behind Twitch etiquette comes in. You know, like you obviously
Yeah.
you're not gonna go into like a random Mexican's house and like, yo, hey, what's up? When are we having tacos? You know, like
Yeah.
you just don't do that kind of stuff.
Not
So
only is that racist, but it's actually you just assume that they're gonna make tacos for you on
actually,
demand.
I kind of do want tacos right now. I'm actually pretty hungry.
Taco sounds good. I haven't had one in forever.
My boss and I went out for drinks after work today, and we sat
Mm.
down and we ordered tamarind wings. I don't know if you know what tamarind is.
Ooh, no, I don't. What is that?
So tamarind is like it's a spice but in a pod, right? And the way they cultivate it, they rehydrate it and it gets sticky. with like its
Ooh.
natural sugars, and it brings out so much flavor. And so they made a sauce out of that for the wings, and we ate that. Like, oh my god, it was so good. Um,
Ooh, I'll
it
have to
was
look that up. That does sound really good.
so delicious. I think I can make it the sauce, and I'll share the recipe and whatnot. But anyway,
Yes.
going back to the whole topic of like, I don't know, Twitch etiquette's weird. I mean, it's common sense
It
that's
really is.
uncommon.
Yeah, literally. It's like, and there are some people who are new to Twitch and they come in chat and they don't know what stuff, and that happens at times. But as long as, you let them go by with a warning and let them know, like, to check out your
Right.
roles and stuff, that's all.
And that, see,
Sometimes
that's
they're just like, screw you.
yeah. See, and that's where like another good point is like, hey, like my moderators are supposed to help me out with that. And going back to the original, like what we were talking about earlier, like the moderators are really like shout out to you guys because you guys have the hardest bit of work, like making sure that
Oh
there's
yeah.
positive community and whatnot. But
Not only are you taking dedication into watching my whole stream and supporting me, you're taking on a big role of making sure nothing bad happens.
exactly.
So
Um,
big shout out to all my mods.
thank you, seeing how
Yeah,
I'm one of them.
yes. And thank you.
It's I don't know, it's crazy. So like, definitely, guys, for those of you who are listening, if you guys ever want to do um, if you guys ever want to think about like your kind of actions and how they reflect on stream, I think the biggest thing that you guys as view or as listeners right now can think about if you're on Twitch is like, hey, how can I necessarily just be an overall better person? And let me think about what I'm going to do and the action behind it before like I set up some sort of opinion from the streamer and from other people in stream because believe it or not, we 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 have our own opinions about a lot of things that go on in our own chat. A lot of the times,
Right.
like a little bit of transparency behind being a streamer. A lot of times we just don't say it because it's not the time or place, and we just like brush it off. But like we we may seem oblivious to some stuff, but trust me, like we're more than aware. Is the best way to put it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't know. It's so crazy. And then
But
like I think it's interesting that you said that what you said a little bit ago that it just made you feel like when you got these trolls and we got these people like who came onto your stream and just acted like a total like idiots. I'm gonna say idiots because people who act like that are a bunch of idiots. I'm just putting that
yeah,
out there.
I mean, it really is. It's like, it's not really the term for like, you're being a bully because someone bullied you. It's like literally
Right?
the fact like, no, I just know what common courtesy is and what being kind is. And if you don't know that, then you're literally an idiot.
Yeah. I think it's so interesting. Being a content creator, like stress catches up to you so fast because like you're constantly on that boom boom boom. I'm trying to do play video games, have a positive community, be positive, show that I'm okay, and I'm trying to be as hyper and optimistic as possible. But a lot of
Oh
people don't
yeah,
think
and
about
show
like
that
the
consistency.
right and like trying to bring that same level of energy every single time. But I think one thing that's super interesting, and not a lot of people think about the person that behind it, like what goes on the
Yeah, like
stream.
what they have going on.
Right. So like with you, when you said that you would go into Christian's arms and like have him hold you after like a really bad stream, I think that a lot of big things that people forget about is like mental health is a definite big thing when it comes to content creators, whether that be people in the music industry, people making art. Like if you aren't feeling it, then like more likely than not, you're not gonna want to keep doing it. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. It can be really uninspiring at times. It's like I said, like whenever the few times that I've had to get off stream and cry my eyes out
Right.
because I felt so hurt and stuff by those trolls and the people just being so mean. It's like I learned from it, of course, but it's like it also made me feel so bad mentally and stuff like, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't keep doing this. Makes me feel like I'm not doing a good job if I'm having these type of people brought into my streams. Like, what am
Right.
I doing wrong?
It's so crazy, and it's an interesting topic that I'm gonna welcome. Like this is I hate this like this phrase right here, but it's an interesting topic that everybody should have an open discussion about, and I think that everybody should have a discussion with that, like with their friends who do watch Twitch or have a streamer that you're close with, like have that discussion. Like how do you keep yourself like positive mentally and like be healthy? Like what do you do to relax? Because I know um, with myself, like there was a point where I was just like, you know what, I'm not 100% here mentally. Like I can't like mentally and physically keep doing and providing these streams because like
Yeah,
it's just not going to be what I want. And then if I try to push something out, it gets me super depressed and super sad because it's like this is my content. This is the stuff that I'm trying to put forward, and like if I'm not being able to put the best representation of my own content out there, then what's the point? Like what am I doing? You know?
exactly. And I think that's a good meaning of what being uninspired is because I've definitely had my take in being uninspired when it comes to streaming. I mean, I just went through a pretty big rough patch with streaming in the last couple of months.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's not even just about the streaming. Like you said, it's what's behind the screen and what you watch. And it's like, nothing crazy in my life happened, but it's just me mentally of what happens in my mind and stuff. Like work was really bad at the time. We were very low staffed. I was getting stuck over. And being a nurse especially, it's very tiring.
Right.
I'm tired right now, but like not like I want to go to sleep tired. It's like I'm physically like drained
Like you just want to have
because
a
it's like
drink
whether
and
if I
then
have
sit
a
on the
good or
couch.
yeah, exactly. It's like not only that, holidays can really affect it too because it's like around the holidays, I feel like after Halloween it gets so busy for everybody in life
Right.
and you just get so caught up in trying to get all that done and
Yeah. Yeah.
have a good holiday with your family and friends and all that and it's like you get worked up and stressed and I feel like that's super common. And I didn't even know that it would be that way until, starting streaming and the holidays coming around. Like
Yeah.
I had to work my butt off in order just to get people what they wanted for Christmas, birthdays, do what I wanted for my birthday, and taking time off for Thanksgiving and
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
that. And it
It's
just was like,
yeah, it's a balancing act that you have to do, and like you had to take care of yourself physically, but like even
yeah,
like mentally, like like all this stress just like piles on over and over, and I know myself, like I have an issue like just letting that go to the point where I'll even explode on other people, and it'll just build up, and then it's like so I needed to find like that healthy medium, for myself, um,
exactly. You got to take care of yourself first before you
yeah,
take care of anything else.
or
And
in
that's what I
quote
feel like is really important.
in quote, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. I'm just kidding.
Exactly, because I would never, of course, want to watch a stream or a video of somebody being completely bummed out or negative and
Right.
angry at everything,
Yeah.
because that would just make me feel bad, not only for them, but just the fact that, I'm watching something so negative. It might put me in a bad mood or make
Right.
me upset. And I, of course, wouldn't, I don't think I've ever gotten on my stream to where I'm like angry or because I'm having a bad day or I'm
Right.
upset because my mentality isn't in the right place in that moment. And I mean, I've gotten mad, of course, like at the video games I'm playing, but I never take it to the extreme of my personal life because I don't like to push that onto my viewers and make
Right.
them feel upset or in any negative way possible. I'd like to avoid that and keep my community and streams as clean and positive and
Right.
happy as can be, just so it's entertaining for not only them and me in the matter too.
Right. And I know Courtney, you and I have talked about like each other's struggles in the past, and the stuff that
Oh
we
yeah,
had
definitely.
to go through. So do you want to give us like a little? I don't want you to go in detail because I know this it's your story is your story, right? And like it's super personal to you.
Yeah.
But can you tell us like a time of like where you just like felt like you just weren't able to continue and like how you got through it? Because like obviously you're here now, so I think like people
Right.
hearing different stories like that, it was like actually can help people because you never know who's gonna be listening and who's going through a rough time. So like I think it'd be super beneficial if we can talk about that for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I don't mind at all. It'd probably have to be more recently, like not like super recently, but within like 2018, like right before I started streaming. Um, I've literally struggled with this for about ever since middle school. And I don't mean to get like in health wise or TMI and stuff, but being a female having menstrual cycles is like,
Right.
my cramps have always been so severe. I can't even do like daily living activities. Like it always where I feel like I have to overdose on ibuprofen just to simply get up and walk to the kitchen to get a drink. I was constantly in bad moods. anytime that I was on my period, I would just like be a bitch, or I don't mean to say that word, but like
No,
I would
yeah,
be
go ahead.
mean to like literally everybody in my surroundings. And
Right,
throughout the years, especially in the past year, it got like really tiring to be acting that way once a month. Like
right.
I didn't know if it was something actually wrong, like a possible hormonal imbalance, or if there's something internally wrong with me that's making me feel this much pain. Because like I said, hold on, let me take a deep breath here because I'm kind of talking a little too fast and drying my throat out.
Yeah, go ahead. Take your time.
um, so about around like I want to say March, April, yeah, probably about around April of 2018. I was having the worst cramps of my life, and I know I
Right,
just said that they have always been severe. But this time it was different. Like it didn't matter how much ibuprofen I was taking or literally any type of, medicine to help calm down the pain. I
right.
did that and I took a warm bath and nothing was working. So I literally just, it made me feel so tired and in so much pain. It was literally the worst feeling I will never want to experience again. Like I would literally not want to wish this pain on my worst enemy
Yeah, like
ever.
as a male, I can only imagine that kind of pain because I know uh, people who uh, go through that kind of stuff. Like, there's just no way to like comprehend what you guys go through, and I highly respect like what you guys struggle through. Like, because
Yeah.
again, like people say that a kick to the nuts is the same thing to like that kind of
Oh,
pain,
yeah.
but like I doubt
Right.
it, and I would never know, and I don't think I would ever be able to talk about the subject and like be able to know that
Yeah.
pain. And I highly respect that you guys go through that because like it's something that is definitely unique to women and people who were, legally born as a woman.
Right. And that's per se, like maybe if you got kicked in the balls maybe for 5 to 7 days.
Right,
Yeah, maybe you probably feel the amount of pain that we like most women can probably feel with menstrual cramps. But
right.
so after that, I just like I got on my bed and I tried to calm down and take some deep breaths, and like it was to the point where I was like, "Oh my God, what's going on? I think something's wrong." Christian immediately gets off from whatever he was doing and he comes and lays down with me. An hour passes, his whole shirt is soaked in my tears. I start hyperventilating. The pain is getting even more worse by like every 2 minutes. I don't know what's going on. And it was even worse at this time because we didn't have a car.
Yeah,
And so it was like, it was scary for him to see me like that. And for the fact he was just like, do we need to call an ambulance? Like, do we need to call an Uber? Do we need to go to the hospital? It's like I didn't want it to get at that point, but it's like I stood up and it's just like I wanted to just drop to my knees and scream my head off. Like the pain, I don't even know, like through a 1 through to 10, like how the hospitals will ask you, like, what's your pain on the scale of 1 to 10? It's like
right. And
mine was literally at a good like 20.
I was gonna say they have those even like those
So
stupid faces like on them that were just supposed to make you feel better, but like you're not paying attention to those stupid faces.
right. But so I work up the courage and I'm just like, yes, I need to go to the hospital. This pain is literally
Yeah.
unbearable. It's not stopping at all. So we call an Uber, we get sent to the hospital. I go immediately in. There was no wait time, thank goodness. And they asked me about my history and why I'm having this pain and all that. And long story short, I ended up getting 4 shots in my back and bottom, and
Ouch.
that is, yeah, and it was like high pain medication that like made me super tired and out of it. And I mean, like it worked all the way up until like 24 hours later. Like that's how much pain medication they had to give me for this
Right.
type of pain I was having. So in that time I was diagnosed with dysmorphia, and so my gynecologist is linked with the hospital that I went to. So he's seen my file because I sent it to him, and he was like, you need to come in and we need to talk and get you an internal ultrasound and see what's going on up there and
Yeah,
figure
yeah,
something out because this doesn't sound comfortable at all, and we don't want this to happen again. So
for sure.
we do an ultrasound, everything looks fine. So he said the only way that we can actually see what's wrong is if we actually look inside without a screen and a machine. He said we'll actually have to take a camera in and look. And by that, he meant like diagnosing me with endometriosis, which is scar
Ouch.
tissue upon
Right.
my, yeah, uterus lining. It could be lesions, not just scar tissue. On my uterus, it could be in my fallopian tubes, my ovaries, just literally
Right.
the system. That was scary because I had already known a little bit about endometriosis, and I feel like it's really important for other females to know about it too, because it's like,
Right,
your cramps are supposed to hurt at times, but if it hurts to the point where nothing's helping, definitely seek out help because I mean, it's absolutely insane what you can find out.
right. So I guess my question
Like
is,
with
Courtney.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess my question is like for you, like how did you? Because like obviously being diagnosed with something that severe, it can be really draining to you, like mentally. Like, oh, how am I going to live with this
Oh,
and
I mean,
whatnot? You
yeah,
know, like
especially for the fact that, I might not want kids right now, but to hear the fact that my gynecologist like told me, it's gonna be hard for you to
right,
have kids or possibly not be able to bear children in your near future if you want them. But if you want to come back to make sure if you can or can't, we can always do another
yeah,
laparoscopic surgery, which is the doctor I had to have to diagnose. And he found the scar tissue and he had to scrape it off, which sounds absolutely painful. And it was like, after the post surgery was terrible. It hurt just to even lay
right,
down and sit
right.
up. I mean, I had a huge cut above my pubic area and in my stomach, and
Right.
it was the worst. But he did what he could to make it better. But just to hear him say that, just made me really think about my future. Like,
So
holy
how did
smokes,
so
am
how
I
did you
gonna be
so
one of
how
the?
I was gonna say, yeah, like how did you fight through that?
It was hard. I mean, it made me feel like, I wasn't necessarily a woman I was supposed to be. It's like, that's the whole point of being a unique woman. You can bear a child, you can literally grow human life inside of you, and you can change not only your life, but whoever you make that life with. And it really scared me being in such a serious relationship, like with Christian. I was just like, oh my God, like I feel so embarrassed. I might not be able to have kids. Like, what if
Right.
he wanted that one day? And I can't give exactly what he wanted to him because that's the whole point of being in love with somebody. You want to give them everything that would make them happy and you want to give them the world. And if I couldn't do that, I felt literally like pointless, not
Yeah.
only to myself, but to him. And I felt so disappointed and like, okay, it was kind of like a why me situation.
Yeah. Obviously, the support that
But
Christian gave you during all this is what helped you, like, also get through this.
oh,
Because like
yeah.
getting that support from your partner is like that's what that whole partnership is for. And I applaud him for giving you that support and being
Oh,
super understanding.
yeah.
Because I know there's not a lot of people who would do that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like most men like want children in the future, but
Yeah.
I'm really thankful to have a boyfriend who wouldn't care about what I can and can give him health wise and all that. And he told me, he said, you know what, if I do and stuff, it's not going to make me love you any less or anything of that. I'm not going to change my opinion about you now or
Yeah.
ever. And because I felt so low, it's like, am I even a woman? Like, it made me feel like myself was missing. Like,
Right.
it was really hard and but
Definitely.
he was it was amazing to get that reassurance that he wouldn't change his thoughts or love for me.
Definitely.
A bit more confident and comfortable about the situation because I was
So,
already stressed up enough about
yeah.
having the surgery to begin with, and then finding that news out was just so draining.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm really happy that the outcome.
I think something that we could suggest to anybody who's listening and anybody who actually cares, it's like if you're going through a problem, like definitely reach out to someone and go make sure you get it checked out. You know, whether it be a physical problem or a mental health problem. Like
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
like you yourself should be your main priority over other people or anything else. Like if you feel like you have something wrong, reach out. If you have mental health issues, reach out to a friend. Tell someone that you have something going on, and more, 9 times out of 10, unless like they're a really bad friend, they'll want to hear about it and they'll help you talk through it. Or if you're going through something of a physical pain, like go to the doctor. Like there's nothing ever embarrassing about going to the doctor and having them tell you like what's wrong with your body. I mean that's what they're for. I mean that's why we have doctors in the first place. So definitely, if you guys have issues with that, feel free to reach out and get the help that you need, because that's the only thing that's going to help you move on in life. Obviously, there's support of other people, but once you finally know like what you need to work on or what needs to get better about you, I think that's going to be helpful for your future and whatnot. And I really appreciate that you gave us that whole story. And for anybody who is faint of heart, I will put a bit of a disclaimer like before the segment starts. Like, if you are weak of heart or weak of like stomach, then I know some people will find that a little
Yeah,
bit too TMI, like you said, but
you're right.
I think that it's worth listening to just because like seeing what people someone had to go through both physically and then also mentally. I
Yeah,
honestly
and I mean,
encourage
a
you guys
lot
to
of
talk
women
about
don't
it.
know about that. Like, I know it's probably not important for men, but it can be. Like, if your girlfriend or your wife is
Right.
going through that type of pain, let them know about like the possible health problems that can come through about it and get help ASAP and see if there
Right.
even is a problem to begin with. Because, while you may not think about it much, but your reproductive system can be so important. Like, of course, and also your mental health. But I mean, if you have that type of problem, it can also affect your mental health and give you
Right.
both. And it's the worst feeling in the world because it's like even after my surgery, like they messed with my hormones literally. So it's like ever since then, I've kind of been a little moody and, my face has been breaking out. It's like weird
Right.
ever since. Like it took about 3 months for my, the internal surgery to actually heal. And then I feel like once it did, it's like my hormones are just so unimbalanced now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Not saying that the surgery didn't do me any good, of course, but it's
Right.
like it's definitely changed like my aspect on things
For
and
sure.
all that. But I've been trying to calm down on my moodiness and stuff because it's dramatic, and I know I can be more positive. I don't know why I
For
even
sure.
acted that way. It's like ridiculous, but I'm glad I reached out for the help when I did because who knows
Yeah.
like how bad my pain could be now, and it
Yeah.
might mess up more in the future. But that's why just have to reach out for help again.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. And then yeah, that I know that's I'm always open for having that discussion with you, opening up myself
Oh,
as a friend, and I think that's why
thank
we work so
you.
well with each other as far as like collaboration with each other on a personal level, but also on stream. And I think that's a good
Yeah.
I think that's a good point for us to even talk about. Like, I know we have some future plans coming up for like different
Yes.
streams and different like projects that you and I are both working on that I don't know if we can disclose yet, but like
Right.
it'll be disclosed in the future. But we have some stuff that's going on in the background, so we'll definitely inform all of you when details are finalized. But Courtney, I think right now I want you to take a good minute to 2 minutes and just plug yourself. Like, go ahead and like tell people who what you're about, like where you are, where people can find you. Obviously, the your links and stuff will be in my description of this video. But go ahead and just go ahead and start shouting yourself out.
Well, first and foremost, it was amazing talking about all of this. I feel so amazing to just even be a part that on your new journey to doing a new create and that I think will get like it already has and just increase. And I think you should have you've got the personality and capability of this creative things. You're such a creative and inspiring person. It'd be crazy to not want to watch you or watch your streams and all that. So got to give you a little thanks for having me on this and having me a part of,
Anytime.
what you're trying to create. So
Nah,
thank you for having me.
thank you for being on. I know I couldn't talk for an hour by myself, so this is amazing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. But, anyways, my Twitch name is Honeybee. If you enjoy horror survival games, especially DBD, which is what I mainly play, you can totally check out my Twitch channel. I try to go live as much as I can. I don't have such of a set schedule yet, but if you tend to want to check out my channel, you totally can do so by pressing that follow button and turning on notifications. That way you can definitely be on point with my live streams. I would love to have anybody who watches this a part of my community. And we have a lot of fun. I have a lot of amazing, inspiring people in my chat and with my community. You guys can also check out my Discord and my social media, both Twitter and Instagram. It's both the same at It's Courtney Cox. Um, but I'm trying to think of what else I could plug in there. I also tried to do a variety of not only Dead by Daylight, but I also like to throw in Overwatch every now and then. And I did used to play Fortnite, but not anymore, so I don't know why I just said that. But I will be probably in the future, definitely looking into other games to try out, especially probably Kingdom Hearts coming up here in the future. And what else? Just really any other games. You guys can always recommend games to me that might be similar to Dead by Daylight. Like there's even times I play Friday the 13th and all that. So I always try to have a positive feeling and a happy environment with my streaming. So if you like all of that and it sounds fun, you should totally come by.
Yeah, so thank you, Courtney, again for stopping by. For anybody who's listening and interested, I will be linking all of her stuff and all of my stuff where you can find us and collaborate with us and join our communities down in the description. But once again, Courtney, thank you so much for being on here. Um, this podcast or this talkie thingy could not happen without your support and the support
Oh.
of you, the listeners. I think this is where we're going to wrap it up, so guys. So thank you guys so much for listening. This has been another episode of Slightly Inconvenienced. I try to post these things every Saturday, and be sure to look out and follow our social medias and our Twitches. That way, you guys can keep up with everything involved with our lives. So, hope you guys have a good night. Hope you guys or whatever. So I hope you guys continue doing what you're doing. Be the best. Take care. I'm gonna see you a little bit from my favorite streamer and old YouTube creator, Generic B. Shout out to you, my man. Hopefully you watch this because like it'd be pretty dope. You actually responded to me on Twitter, but anyway, I'm getting a little starstruck. So I'll do his outro, and I hope everybody in listening to this and you too, Courtney. I hope you take care. Brush your hair. I'll see you when I see you. Peace out, Girl Scouts.